we had this conversation. It's like Michael Jordan's the best player ever, but he wasn't the best GM ever because it's a different skill set, right?
Every phase of the entire patient journey has different objectives. So if you have a lead taker that's trying to sell the case and give prices and build value and all this stuff, no, you just basically build, your objective is to get that patient to show up, right? And the better you handle the lead call, the higher you're likely of that patient to show.
I've seen the worksheet and I've actually used the worksheet before. It's amazing. So just that alone is worth the price of the course. If you get that nailed down, that's huge.
A lot of the doctors are, getting the best racehorse, but not finding the jockey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Full Arch Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more new patients so you can grow the way that you want. But you know what? If you suck at sales, you're not going to be able to close what you want, Doc. You're just not. And today, I have the Michael Jordan of Full Arch Sales, Stacy herself. And this is not somebody who's just consulting and telling people what she thinks about it. She is actually out there closing 60 arches every month, and she's going to give away her playbook. I promise you, this is going to be one of those episodes that brings you more value than anything else that you do out there. Faster, more money to your top line, more money to your bottom line, and helping more people, most importantly. Stay tuned. All right, we are live, and I'm excited about this one because, you know what, I get to do awesome things. And the reason I live such a great life is because I get to talk to awesome people who do awesome things. And today is, I think, a second-time visitor on our podcast. But this time it's a little bit different. I've had the opportunity to speak with Stacy on stage. I've seen her present. She's presented at some of our conferences, some other conferences that I've been to. And the thing I love about Stacy is she is literally, and I've talked to her reps that sell her the implants, so I've actually confirmed this and not just take Stacy's word at it. She is the top 1% in the United States when it comes to closing full arch cases. And she's amazing. She actually closes by herself 60 arches a month, and she closes at 75%, which the national average is around 20%. And I actually asked her one time, Stacy, can I come into your office and watch you? And she let me. And so I've seen her whole process. I was just like blown away at how good she was at it. And the thing I love about Stacy is she was like, Gary, I want to share this with the world. And I'm like, okay, well, good luck with that. And she actually built an LMS that I got to see behind the scenes as she was doing it and those kind of things. And it actually trains offices on how to level up their full arch sales. And I've seen it in action. And so I asked Stacy, can you come on and talk about this, talk about your journey and what you've done, and then also building this. So Stacy, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited to talk through this with you. So tell me a little bit about why you wanted to build this. Like, why was this such a big deal that you got this built to help other people?
Yeah. And thank you for having me, Gary. That's a great question. And it all started when I was, realized I had a gift in this industry, but I didn't realize until I got a letter, a marketing letter. There was a big DSO that was trying to market to their method that they were using is they were sending letters to all the local GP offices in the area. And they basically said, we get, I don't know the exact numbers, but they said something to the effect, we get, five, what are the typical numbers? 300 patients a month. So do the math. How many is that a year? Whatever. They get, and of those thousands of people that we see every year, we're only able to close, and they gave the exact number. They didn't say they didn't say close. They said we're only able to service, 30% of those people or 20% of those people. And I had been doing this for quite some time. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, even these big DSOs that are, led with business, operations and all that, are having trouble with this. And I said, I can help. Yeah. And so I, dabbled in it in the consulting, and I was going to, I took on a few clients and I was going to different offices, and I realized that just time for me is the hardest thing. And I wanted to help as many people as possible.
Yeah. Because Stacy's not a consultant. I'll just say that right now. That's not, she has consulted in the past, but when we talked, you were like, Gary, I can't keep doing this. I can't do my job and work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and absolutely crush it at my office, and then go and meet with doctors every single day afterwards. Like, it's just not sustainable. So I love that you thought through that and like, hey, how do we actually help more people, but do it in a way that doesn't isn't going to require all of your time every single day.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I did a podcast actually the other day, and, one thing he talked about was the fact that because I could probably go do consulting and do really well at it because, it's something that I really like also is teaching and helping and doing one-on-one consulting, but I love working with people, and I have a partnership now with Dr. Valadez where it really makes sense for me to be here. But he was like, the fact that you're actually in there, right? Because he was talking about, it was like a didactic course, and he was working with a guy that wanted to stay on and help them do all their implant trainings and stuff, but he was retiring. And he's like, the fact that he's retiring, he's not actually in there doing these cases anymore. It kind of takes the relevance away. So the fact that I'm actually in here, because things are always changing in full arch, everything, workflows and systems. And so, the fact that I'm here doing it and can stay
it's what
consistent.
Makes you a killer at it.
Yeah.
That's what makes you good at it, is that you're actually doing it, right? We had this conversation. It's like Michael Jordan's the best player ever, but he wasn't the best GM ever because it's a different skill set, right? And it's just like you are actually in the game scoring baskets at an extremely high rate. And that's amazing. And then that you've opened up those doors. Most dental practices won't do that. When they have a secret sauce around something, they close the doors. They say, no, let's not tell anybody about this because it's our secret weapon. And you did the exact opposite. You said, you know what, I want to share this. And I think that's really admirable, and also just cool that you want to help other people. And it's helped us. So I actually, before it was built, I was like, Stacy, please just help my clients. Will you help me with these? I know you're not taking on new clients this way, and just please help me. I need help with it in a couple areas. And she did. And she taught exactly what was in the LMS. And I've actually personally seen offices double their collections like in 2 months, which is crazy when it comes to full arch. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's actually in there. So if someone first, who should buy this? Like who would buy this course that we're going to put the link down below? And who would it make sense to buy this particular course?
This course would make sense for anyone in full arch, I believe, because, anyone that's not converting at 70%, because the thing is, it literally, I put so much time. It's literally my playbook on how I do everything. So whether you're a GP just trying to get started with full arch, or you're already at the level where you're a badass, clinician, and you're doing, 10 arches a month, and so it could work for anyone that's looking to really level up their game in full arch in terms of conversion.
So,
right?
So it'd be like, so it makes sense for doctors to get it, treatment coordinators. Would it make sense, like front desk, like people who are managing the leads of the full arch? Would it make sense for them to go through it?
Yeah. So it has basically everything it's everything you need from the entire sales cycle of full arch dentistry. So it's from when the patient picks up the phone. There's 4 modules, 24 courses built around the lead call, the clinical presentation, but presenting it in a way that really, enhances the patient to want to choose your practice. Yep. There's like a foundation of sales, which focuses on the basically persuasion and influence, and basically training people that are, have been a lot of times, a lot of these treatment coordinators, they have a dental background, but they've never had formal sales training. Yeah. So it helps with that aspect. And then the sales presentation, which basically just walks you through the entire sales presentation. So, that's
amazing. Now,
I think a lot of these guys.
A question for you.
Oh, I was just going to say a lot of people that are just trying to get started, or even I've seen some DSOs that have been doing it have, in my opinion, they have the wrong blueprint in terms of like the patient journey and, some system things. So it literally teaches everything from start to finish.
Yeah, I love that. I actually watched you one time talk to a client that had their patient journey out of order, and it was literally costing them patient after patient after patient. And then the second you switched it around, it was that simple, right? Like just switch this part around. Yeah. And then all of a sudden things started working. And I absolutely love that. Now, something that you've done for us is that you've given us a discount code to get $2,000 off, which I'm going to share in a moment with everybody. But before we do that, I want to talk through this really quick. So there's 4 modulars. You said the lead call, the clinical presentation, the foundation of sales, and the sales presentation. So let's just work through those really quickly. In just like a 30-second elevator pitch, what is the modular one, the lead call? Like, what am I getting out of that?
You're getting, the difference between, a GP and a full arch lead. I mean, this is a completely different type of lead. So basically, all the reasons why there's so much psychology around this, right? So why, these people have waited 25 years sometimes to pick up the phone. So you have a very limited opportunity to capitalize on that and get these people booked. It talks about how you shouldn't, try to sell the case over the phone. Every phase of the entire patient journey has different objectives. So, right. So if you have a lead taker that's trying to sell the case and give prices and build value and all this stuff, no, you just basically your objective is to get that patient to show up, right? And the better you handle the lead call, the higher you're likely of that patient to show. So, that's awesome. It gives everything, and lead call, dialogue.
You gave like a workflow, right? You gave like a workflow for the person to work through not like a whole script, because it's not all about like the exact words you say. It's more how you handle that call and the workflow that you work through. So that was in there. And then I think you did,
I did a script also though, too, to utilize, because it's very important. Yeah. That's a great way to get better on the lead call. And you'll kind of make it your own as you go, but it's all the important steps that you need to effectively book the lead.
And then you had a USP there too. Can you walk me through that?
What is that? Obviously, yeah. The unique selling proposition is basically used in the lead.
Obvious to you, Stacy, but not to everybody else, right?
Sorry. The USP is basically the one thing your business does different and preferably better than anybody else. So it's basically the driving force of your business, and it has to be real and tangible. It has to be the one thing that differentiates yourself from your competition. And that's what's going to...
You have the work. I've seen the worksheet, and I've actually used the worksheet before. It's amazing. So just that alone is worth the price of the course. If you get that nailed down, that's huge. So you got the lead call. And then modular number 2, the clinical presentation. You kind of already touched on that a little bit and what that is. Anything else you want to add there? Of what the clinical presentation, the second modular, of what people are going to learn from that standpoint?
It's basically, what we use in our practice to be effective. So it's, really understanding how to remain neutral, and it shows exactly what we do in our practice. I mean, so
what the doctor should be doing versus what the treatment coordinator should be doing, basically.
Exactly. Because I think what happens is, what's going on out there is a lot of times the doctors, I talked about on that other podcast, I won't go into it, but my whole analogy with the racehorse, right?
Yes.
So, but basically, a lot of the doctors are, getting the best racehorse, but not finding the jockey. And what's the jockey? Right. So I will give this analogy really quick. I'll give it really quick because it's so awesome. Okay. So the executing full arch dentistry is kind of like owning a racehorse, in the fact that the practice owner or the dentist is the owner of the horse. And then you pay for all this education, not education. Yeah. You pay for all this education, equipment, CT scans, micro mappers and all this stuff. And you have this perfect horse, right? Once you get this horse fully trained, what's the one thing you need to make sure the horse crosses the finish line first?
A little jockey.
So you need that jockey. So the jockey is your salesperson. So my whole point is, a lot of these doctors, at least when they're starting out, is they try to sell the case themselves. So they try to overcompensate because they don't really have someone, proficient to do that from a sales perspective. So it just teaches the whole system on how you should effectively be clinically presenting full arch. To remain neutral and just focus on the patient and basically say, okay, pulling up the CT scan and letting the patient know that they're a candidate and, models to use and things like that. And then basically just telling them their options and the features and the benefits of each option.
I watched one of the videos, you even told, hey, this is how we dress. Like, these are the clothes I wear. This is how I do my hair. This is how the doctor dresses. This is how they prep themselves. So I was just like blown away by that level of detail of like, and you even said, you don't have to do it exactly like me, but this is my thought process. And this is part of why we are so good at what we do. And then you went into the foundation of sales, which is really the psychology side. And I loved that. That was amazing. That one actually helped me just from a people standpoint and just cultivating that right mindset. That one was amazing. So if you have somebody who maybe isn't the best salesperson, that particular modular really helps them. But then I think really the backbone of this whole thing was your sales presentation. Walk me through how you shared your secrets in that part of it, of the presentation. And then I'm going to give away the discount code.
Okay. So the sales presentation just pretty much, it lays out the entire sales presentation. So it's basically, every single step that you need to be taking throughout the sales presentation, the introduction, building rapport. It talks about, what you need to know from a clinical perspective to really, build your skill set on this. I mean, it's too hard to explain because I think there's 8 modules alone in the sales presentation. So it's literally what I do to be successful every day from start to finish. And this isn't something
That's
like
awesome.
I'm testing. Like I've been doing this and I've been successful at it for 6 years consistently with 5 different doctors. So it's not like, oh, I'm testing it out. It's not like this might work for you. Like I'm giving you my playbook for what I really feel can help you. So yeah.
Okay, so people can find this at the Full Arch Sales Academy, and then the code that you gave me was 2K Full Arch, and it's a $2,000 discount. So this course is normally $6,900, but you get a $2,000 off. I don't know how long that discount's going to go, so make sure that you go check that out. Once it expires, it's gone. You have to pay full price. But I will say, I started doing the math on this, Stacy. If people are at industry average 20 to 30%, that's the target market, right? And if you can get 5 to 10% of an increase on your sales, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a month and millions of dollars a year. And this really, really makes a difference. Like this is something that you don't have to add more marketing budget. I know I'm a marketing guy, but you don't have to spend more on marketing. You don't have to hire more people. You don't have to get new equipment and new software and new systems. This is the one thing that you can add to your practice right now if you're already getting full arch leads and instantly get a lift in closing. And I think that's absolutely amazing. So again, I want to give everybody the address, fullarchsalesacademy.com. And the discount code is 2K Full Arch. And listen, guys, if you've been listening to any of my shows for very long, I don't do stuff like this very often. And the only reason I'm willing to do this is because of who Stacy is and what she's accomplished. And I am really, really confident in this product. So make sure you go check it out. Stacy, you are awesome. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing your genius with the world. Again, most people in the dental industry don't do this. So thank you for being different. Thank you for caring about other people. And thank you for making a difference to all those people who need this treatment out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and for your kind words, as always. I appreciate it. Thank you.